Welcome to US News Daily, your trusted source for the latest news and in-depth analysis from around the world. I'm your host, James Carter, bringing you the stories that matter most, helping you understand the events shaping our world. President Donald Trump announced on Friday that he and Chinese President Xi Jinping had made progress toward finalizing a long-sought deal over TikTok's US assets. This breakthrough came after a phone call between the two leaders, where Trump emphasized cooperation not only on trade in fentanyl, but also on resolving the war in Ukraine. Central to the call was the TikTok agreement, which has been at the heart of US-China tensions for years. Trump posted on Truth Social that the conversation was a very good one, and that both sides looked forward to meeting at the upcoming APEC summit. For Trump, the announcement was both a diplomatic victory and a political signal that he could preserve TikTok for American users while maintaining pressure on Beijing. Xi, according to Chinese state media, stressed that Beijing respects market rules and would welcome business deals consistent with Chinese laws. The potential agreement is the product of years of negotiations, lawsuits, and political drama stretching back to Trump's first term. Under U.S. law signed by former President Joe Biden, TikTok faced a complete ban unless at least 80% of its U.S. operations were transferred to American ownership. While Biden initially enforced the law, Trump paused the ban multiple times, seeking a compromise that would protect the app while safeguarding national security. Earlier this week, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Chinese Vice Minister of Commerce Li Chenggang confirmed that a framework deal had been reached in Madrid. This framework would allow TikTok to continue operating in the U.S. under a new ownership structure heavily dominated by American investors. Although details remain unclear, sources familiar with the framework reported that the deal would bring in major U.S. firms like Oracle, Andreessen Horowitz, and Silver Lake as key investors. These companies would form a consortium holding a majority stake, while Chinese investors would retain only about 20%. The new entity would be overseen by a U.S. majority board, including at least one member appointed by the Trump administration. This structure is meant to ensure American oversight while preserving TikTok's operations and massive user base. However, one unresolved issue is TikTok's powerful recommendation algorithm, the secret sauce behind the app's addictive content. China has long indicated it would not allow the algorithm to be sold, while U.S. law explicitly prohibits cooperation between ByteDance and the new American-led entity on algorithmic functions. Beyond the business details, the TikTok deal underscores the deep strategic rivalry between Washington and Beijing. China has resisted giving up control of TikTok for years, seeing it as a crown jewel of its tech industry and a global cultural export. But trade tensions, including Trump's sweeping Liberation Day tariffs, shifted the balance. By lowering tariffs and reopening talks, both sides saw a window to resolve TikTok's uncertain future. For the U.S., the deal addresses long-standing national security concerns about user data potentially being accessed by Chinese authorities. For China, it allows them to ease trade frictions while maintaining a presence in one of the world's largest social media markets. The agreement also sets the stage for a long-awaited Trump-Xi summit, expected at the APEC meeting in South Korea, with plans for reciprocal visits. The significance of this deal extends far beyond TikTok itself. The app's 170 million U.S. users represent one of the most politically influential demographics, young Americans. In the 2024 election, Trump unexpectedly gained more support among younger voters compared to recent Republican candidates, and TikTok played a role in that shift. Preserving TikTok could further strengthen his appeal among this group, while also allowing him to portray himself as a president capable of cutting tough deals with China. On the global stage, the deal signals that the U.S. is determined to assert control over foreign tech companies operating domestically, setting a precedent for future cases. It also highlights the delicate balance between free markets national security, and international diplomacy in the digital age. Yet, uncertainties remain. The algorithm dispute has the potential to derail the entire deal, as it touches on both national pride in China and security concerns in the US. There are also questions about how the new ownership structure will operate in practice, and whether ByteDance's reduced 20% stake could still create indirect influence. Trump's repeated extensions of the TikTok ban deadline frustrated lawmakers in Congress, who saw it as undermining bipartisan legislation. Now, with a deal seemingly in reach, critics argue that Trump is using TikTok not just as a policy issue, but also as a political weapon. Still, the Friday call between Trump and Xi marks the most concrete progress since talks began years ago, offering a rare moment of optimism in US-China relations. Whether this optimism lasts depends on the fine print of the agreement and the ability of both sides to navigate the algorithm issue without collapsing the fragile compromise. For now, the message to American users is clear. TikTok is not going dark anytime soon. That concludes today's report from US News Daily. I'm James Carter, and I want to thank you for joining us as we continue to follow the events shaping our world. These developments remind us how fragile international relations can be and how important it is to stay informed. We will keep monitoring the situation and bring you updates as they unfold. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware,